Almost forgot about the volume. Yeah, so after a long time, a lot of people asking in the comments for me to show the list, deck lists in the of the replays, I decided to do this stream. Sadly, I won't be able to show the list of my opponents, since most of those old replays are now gone. I don't have the deck list nor anything like that shows. I'm sorry about that. I can only show my deck lists and the updated ones. So the trickstar you will be seeing here is different from the trickstar of, for example, my replay of trickstar versus what was it? Cyber Dragon? I think. Yeah, I think it was. Or for example, trickstar vs Duel, my most successful replay. Sadly, I can't show you the Duel deck. Neither I can show you the deck from that time. Even though I think I posted the trickstar list at the time in some as a response in someone else's comment asking for the deck list. So you might find, if you look at the comments of my old replays of trickstar. Okay, so yeah, here we have 8 out of 9 decks. Why 8? Because I'm still finishing my Etso Sister deck. Wait. No. Oh, here. Deck added. As you can see, I'm missing a few, quite a few cards. 2 of the Quick Play spell. 3 URs at these monsters. 4, sorry. And I still have 3 slots to find something to fill with. Because 3 slots that I can use from monsters that can be useful to fodder for my pot. So yeah, a second. Let's go in order of crafting, okay? So let's begin with my first deck. Actually, my first replays I was using a demise deck, demise ritual deck, but that was basically the deck they give you, like the deck list they give you. If I did any changes, was something that you can just ignore it, okay? Here, structure deck. Yeah, this one. I basically was using this at the time. But okay, so let's go first with trickstars. First, I'd like to say I prefer to use how can I say, pure build. Like, I don't like to mix too many archetypes or use too many pieces of other archetypes, because I don't feel like that's fun. I think an archetype should work on its own, mostly. Sometimes you can mix a bit of other archetypes, you will see in my Witchcrafter deck, but I want to the core the Wincon be of that archetype, not using that to go for a generic Wincon, like a lot of decks nowadays do. I'm looking at you, Things Destroyer. Okay, let's see Trickstar. So yeah, quite a basic build, to be honest. I haven't messed with it that much. For example, I still use 2 Veilers. You for sure can use a lot of other options, for example, Ash Blossom, but I want to keep my deck list of Trickstar here the closest possible to my real life Trickstar deck list. That's why I use 2 Veilers. Even though I do have 2 Ash Blossoms, yeah. But normally I use Ash Blossom in other decks. One Nightshade, she can be a starter for your Link summoning. If you don't get, for example, Candina, how you use Nightshade to make Bloom. Nightshade's ability, since she was used as Link material, she will come back to the field. Then you have to banish her. And with that, you can do a Link 2 Holy Angel. So yeah, she's a Link 2 free card. One Lilybell, she can be actually used in a lot of different ways. For example, if your opponent has quite a strong board, but doesn't that doesn't have many ways to deal with a direct attacking card, she's actually pretty useful for attacks, especially if you do have some Lilybells, some Lycorises in your... Hey Candy! In your grave. So yeah, because you can attack, get your Lycoris from your grave, bounce, then use Lilybell's effect, summon her again, attack, and then get another Lycoris. So this can be really useful. One Mandrake, why? Because we do run Crimson Heart, and she's the perfect target for you to discard with Crimson Heart effect. Not even with Crimson Heart, you will be drawing, and by discarding Mandrake, your discard will come back to the field, so you won't be losing a card per se. 3 Lycoris, that's a given actually. One of the best Trickstar cards, does burn for every time your opponent adds a card to his hand. So yes, if your opponent decides to use a Metzi, you can burn him to hell and back. If you can continuously Link summon. 3 Honest, that's not actually necessary, but I like to use Honest since the full deck is made of light monsters except for Metzi, that's Earth, but you won't be using him in the field. 3 Candinas, one of your starters. With her, you can literally add any other Trickstar card from your deck to your hand. Monster, spell, doesn't matter. If it has Trickstar on the name, you can add it. That's really good. Also, she does burn damage after a spell or trap of your opponent activates. The effect needs to be resolved for that, so if she leaves the field before the end of the resolution, she won't be doing that burn damage. Corobane, 2K beater, special summon. You can special summon her almost anytime you want, since how can I say, it's a mostly pure deck. Even the extra deck, you can see we only run 3 non-Trickstar monsters. Nightmare Kerberos, Accessible Talker, and Underworld Goddess. So yeah, she's basically a discount Honest. She's not as strong as Honest, because she won't be at Honest adds the total attack of the opponent monster to your monster. She will be adding the original attack of your monster back to your monster. So for example, I'm attacking with Holy Angel. She has 2600 attack, and I activate Corobane. She will be getting another 2k attack, not 2600, because she adds the original attack. So yeah, and she's a free special summon to your field. She can help you to link better, but you need to remember, either you special summon her or use her Honest effect. You can't use both in the same turn. That's important. One Monster Reborn, this card can actually save some plays. It's a free monster back. You can steal a graveyard monster from your opponent. It's really useful. Trickstar is a really field spell heavy deck. You need your field spells mostly. So terraforming, sadly, it is limited. We can't do much about it, but one. That's it. 2 Pot of Desire. Since this deck is focused on the link summons, getting rid of your extra deck monsters, it's not that good. It's better for you to get rid of main deck monsters than extra deck. So 2 Pot of Desires. You don't need any more of this. You can even try 1 pot, but not now. Okay. Just a second. I just noticed one thing here. Let me output. My bitrate is normal. My frame rate was supposed to be okay. Let me check the feedback. Yeah, the quality looks like it's okay. Let me go back, do some movement. Yeah, it's normal. No, wait. Yeah, it's good enough. I'm still finding the sweet spot for bitrate and quality. For some reason, YouTube saying my frame rate is way too high for the bitrate I want. I don't know why. I'm streaming at 60 FPS. Or not. I need to check this out, because I just looked at it and I might be sending more frames than necessary actually. So yeah, continuing. Back to the line of thought. Trickstar Festival. This card is amazing. 3 off for certain. 2 Trickstar tokens, so you can do link summon with them, even though they are tokens. It has a graveyard effect that protects once Trickstar link monster you control from being destroyed. That's really, really good. But when you use it to summon both tokens, you are locked to use only trickstar monsters to summon. So you won't be having access to accessible talker, neither underworld goddess. Okay, that's something really important to disclose. If you get this in your hand, starting hand, and Candina, and a chain summoning, you are set for chain summoning, because with this, you summon 2 tokens, you use those 2 tokens to do a Holy Angel. You don't need to make a Bloom, you can save that for later. Then you normal summon Candina in one of the zones Holy Angels points to. With that, her effect will activate, then that effect will chain with Candina, and chain summoning will be online. Then you have 2 more normal summons in that turn, so you can get a lot of cards for free. Some will have to be Lycurises, because you need either to have another Candina in your hand or a Lycoris to bounce Candina to your hand so you can normal summon her again. Light Stage, the second best card in the deck, or maybe the best since it's the only one limited aside from the trap. It adds any trickstar monster. If you open this and you don't have Candina, Light Stage, get Candina, continue your turn. And also it can protect you from set cards in your opponent's field. If he has 1 or 2 cards, you can do the following. You can target one of those cards until the end of the turn. That card cannot be activated. In the end of the turn, the opponent will be forced to activate it. If that card doesn't allow it to be activated at that moment, the card will go to the grave. So you get free removal with that. 3 life stages. Since we only have 1 light stage, life stage is our second best option, because with that card you can add 1 trickstar from your grave to your hand, and also you can special summon up to 2 tokens per turn with the same restriction as the festival. If you use the token effect, you have to only special normal sorry, you'll be locked into trickstar monsters for the rest of the turn. So no accessible talker, no Kerberos, you get it. Dark Room of Nightmare, since trickstar still does have a really good burn engine, this can turbo your opponent. So 3 of you want to find one of these as fast as possible. So okay, that's fine. 3 chain summoning. This card is really good, can make your deck way faster, but you need to draw it as quick as possible. Okay, I already explained how the best case scenario to use chain summoning. Why can't I, for example, use Candina and 2 Lycurises, or better, why can't I use 2 Lycurises to activate to use chain? Because in that link chain, you cannot have cards with the same name in that chain. So you can't activate Licorice chain 1, Licorice chain 2, chain summoning. You need to have, for example, Candina chain 1, Licorice chain 2, chain summoning. One arrival rivals. I don't know why I always read as rival arrival, but okay. Basically, quick play spell, you can do a normal summon by this card's effect. Basically, you can have a normal summon during your battle phase or during your opponent's battle phase. Yes, this is possible. And by normal summoning Candina, you can add another trickstar card, maybe a Corobane, if you need that extra attack, for example, attack power. So yeah. And also, let's say you normal summon Lilybell and you have rival rivals. Well, you can attack and you do have 2 to 3 Licorices in your grave. Attack with Lilybell, Licorice. Licorice effect, Lilybell to hand. Don't activate Lilybell's effect. Arrival rivals, normal summon again. She attacks again directly. Another Lilybell, bounce another Licorice, bounce Lilybell to the hand, and now use Lilybell's effect and special summon her to the field. Third attack, that's at least if you do have Light Stage on the field, that's a 3000 life points out of your opponent. And you get also 2+ cards. And if you have 3 Licorice in your grave, you can add another Licorice to your hand and special summon Licorice, bouncing Lilybells, and have 3 Licorices to attack if you're able. So this actually can be a really good extender. Now, what we can call the best card in the deck, to be honest. Reincarnation. This card is limited to 1 for a reason. You bench all your opponent's hand and he has to draw the exact same number of cards he benched. This is really good, especially if you do have a Licorice in your hand. You can use that to deal with cards that your opponent added to the hand. He adds the card to the hand. If that card isn't the next one he will be using, he uses another. You can chain summoning here, this, and get rid of the card. This is really good, and also it's a free Trickstar Monster Revival. Like, just banish this card from your grave and revive 1 Trickstar from your grave. It's a second Monster Reborn. And just as Terraforming Metaverse, this deck really uses the field spells, so you want to have them. So Metaverse, it's a good option. It's slower than Terraforming, but we don't have many options, especially because set rotation is banned in Master Duel. Trickstar Bloom, it's a quite useful piece, as I said, with Nightshade, you can do a link to just with these 2 cards with like a Lycoris in your field already. You can do more burn damage to your opponents since she can make your opponent draw 1. And yeah, that's it. Holy Angel, your main target for link summoning. You want to have Holy Angel in your field, especially in the extra monster zone, not in the main monster zone, the extra. Why? Because for every time a Trickstar monster is special summoned to a zone she points to, 200 damage. No monster, Trickstar monster that she points to can be destroyed by battle or card effect, so protection. Also, every time a Trickstar monster effect deals damage to your opponent, she gets that burn damage as attack. So, let's say Lycoris did 1000 burn damage, she gets 1000 attack. This is really good, but this attack boost only lasts till the end of the turn. So yeah, Black Cat Bat, you won't be using her as much. You will be going more for Crimson Heart as your second link to, but it's good to have her here, and even better to have her in your grave, okay? Kerberos, if you need to deal with a annoying monster to remove it from the field, and as far as I remember, his effect, since the cost is discarding a card, you can use that effect with Mandrake, so it's another way to not get a minus from the cost. Divarities, even though you can only have one of her in your field, she's really good. Because if you are dealing with a summon combo, you can leave her there and she will deal 200 burn damage per normal or special summon. A lot of decks really hate to have this card on the field. And also when she enters, 200 more damage, because why not? Motorcycle. Okay. Foxglove Witch. This card is a 2-off. There's no reason to run more of her. Sorry. When she enters in the field, she deals 200 damage for each card your opponent controls. If he has a full board, if he has a back row, if he has field spell, all of these count to her damage. And if she's destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon a Link 2 monster Trickstar from your extra deck to the field. And after that, she deals again 200 damage for each card your opponents control. So for example, let's say in the field your opponent has 5 cards, that's 1000 damage. But somehow he destroyed that card and now he has 4, okay? Since Foxglove Witch was destroyed, she will be dealing damage for each card your opponent controls, so now 800, but before that she will special summon a Link 2 monster. So if you do have a Holy Angel in your extra, you special summon her, and then the burn damage will be applied. So your Holy Angel will get the burn damage as attack. Delphindium, and actually this card is just filler. Why? Because we want to have the highest number of trickstars with different name in the grave for Bella Madonna, because Bella Madonna's effect allows her to deal once per turn 200 damage to your opponent for each trickstar with different name in your grave. So 2 like forces won't count as 2 trickstars, it will count as 1. But for example, you have 2 like choruses and 1 mandrake in your grave, then 400 damage, and that keeps piling up with your link monsters, so in the grave. So that's why you want to be, how can I explain, link summoning a lot. And also, when she's in a zone that doesn't points to any other monster, she cannot be affected by other cards' effect. Sadly, this also applies to yours, so you can't honest her and you can't Korobane her. Her attack will stay normal. There is actually one zone in the whole field that she's permanently unaffected. It's the rightmost zone in the main monster zones. That's why you want to have your Holy Angel, because if you special summon Holy Angel in your right extra monster zone, she will be by default pointing to the zone. So getting Bella Madonna's to that zone is way easier this way. For one access Skull Talker, because he's a really big beat stick. He has some kind of removal, even though you only will be able to use his removal twice if you decide to remove him also, because he wants the attribute. So light and sorry, 3 times at most, because light, he's dark, and Kerberos is earth. So 1 for Kerberos, 1 for any other trickstar monster or underworld goddess, and 1 from him. That's all. But still, he can really disrupt your opponent. And to finish it up, to remove removable cards. Oh, that card can be destroyed by a battle or card effect. Oh, gee, how that card can be affected by other cards' effect? Oh, gee, what can I do? Underworld Goddess. I know she's a Link 5, but she's actually pretty useful. And when you, at the moment you need to use her, probably you won't be being affected by neither Trickstar Festival or Light State, so it's all good. And that's basically the Trickstar list. It took us how long? 38 minutes to explain one deck. Okay, and we still have 7 to go. Oh god. Okay, my second deck was Sky Striker. Actually, this one I haven't changed it at all since those old replays. Two Valors. Again, I like to use Valor. He's a Tanner. He can be called with Hulk Favorites and also with Celine, so he's really useful. 3 Maxi. This deck has a lot of space, so Maxi is usable, especially against combo decks. 3 Ash Blossoms. This card is really good. Again, you have a lot of space, so you can use a lot of negates, generic cards and everything. Also, this deck draws a lot, so you don't need to worry about breaking that much. It is possible, but not that common, okay? Schoolmaster. This is interesting. I based this list in other lists I saw in the internet, but I gave my own spin. Normally, I saw a lot of Sky Striker lists using Ghost Bell. So you have both Ash Blossom and Ghost Bell to have a really broad negate, but Ghost Bell is a UR. If you are a free-to-play player like me, I really never spent 1 cent in this game. You won't be wanting to match the number of URs in your deck. You actually want to lower that. And Schoolmaster does fill some of Ghost Bell's roles and is only a SR, so that's why I choose Schoolmaster. For Ray, your main monster, literally the engine of your deck, because without her you won't be link summoning nor nothing. So yeah, 2 Rose is like a backup card. You won't be using her as much, but you can use her, especially if you want to go for higher links. 1 Regek for board wipe, at least monster board wipe. You can also run Harpy's Feather Duster. I don't use because this deck already does have some back row removal. Normally, cleaning the whole back row is not that necessary. Reinforcement of the army. So if you don't have a Ray in your hand, but you have this, basically now you have her. This card is at 1, and Ray is a warrior. That's the most I need to explain. 1 Pot of Avarice. Actually, this card is necessary. Not only is a draw 2, but you want to use Kagari as much as possible. And for that, you need to recycle. And since this deck does a lot of link summoning, you will have the Pot of Avarice requirement really quick. That's why 1, you don't need more of this. Why? If I said that recycling cards is important, why only 1? I will explain when we get there. 2 Desires, so you can have even more draws, okay? Again, your deck is this deck has a big focus on your extra deck, so getting rid of extra deck cards hurts this deck way more than banishing main deck cards, so that's why we are using Desires. 2 engages. The strongest card in the deck is basically a +2 if you have the proper setup. What do I mean by this? All Sky Striker cards have 2 effects. One when you activate it, and all of them have the same condition. You can't control monsters in your main monster zones. So yeah. But you also have another effect that activates if you have 3 or more spells in your grave. And this one literally has the primary effect of adding 1 Sky Striker card from your deck to your hand. It doesn't matter if it's a monster or if it's a spell or trap. It just adds to your hand, okay? And if you have 3 or more spells, you draw 1. It's a +2. It's basically a pot of greed with a minimum of setup, and it's not once per turn. This card is nuts. And this being at 2 is even nuttier, but okay. Maneuver Afterburner. This card targets 1 face-up monster in the field and destroys it. And the secondary effect is that after that you can target 1 spell or trap on the field and also destroys it. So you have 1 monster pop and 1 spell pop. Remember that I said that this deck has a lot of not a lot, but enough back row removal. That's what I meant. 1 what's the name? Jamming Wave. So take Afterburner but change the targets. First a back row card, then a monster. It's just that. That's why 1, 2. You will be using more the Afterburner, as I said, but this also can help you a lot. Mech Armory. So, do you remember when I said that we need to recycle? So, this is your secondary recycle. You have this and this. This is searchable and is recyclable. When this card is sent from the field to the grave, you can target 3 Sky Striker monsters and send them back to their deck. So you target your Link monsters, especially Kagari, and recycle them. That's why I said only 1 pot of Avarice. There's no need for more. 2 of the field spell. This card actually is one of the ways we can get rid of Mech Armory, and also can help you to add more Sky Striker cards to your hand. Mecha Modules, Multi-Roll is a really good card because it's guaranteed, for example, to send your Mech Armory Hercule to your grave, but also protects the activation of all your Sky Striker spells in that turn. 2 of it. No more is needed. 2 Called by the Grave. This card is really good to protect you from hand traps and everything. 1 Hornet Drones, also limited. This one calls a Sky Striker token. If you don't have an array in your grave or in the field or in your hand, like depending on the situation, Hornet Drones will be your target. Why? Because, for example, your array has an effect when your Sky Striker monster is destroyed by battle or card effect. You can special summon her from grave to the field once per turn, okay? let's say you don't have her, but you still need the protection. You can use Hornet drones. Oh, it's your turn and you don't have a way to start your links. Hornet drones can also help you, can save your ass. So, one of it. Also can help you with links. Yeah. Another really good card, Widow Anchor. This card is nasty. It's not only a negate, but it's also a freeze next to. You can not only negate your opponent, but if you have 3 spell cards in your grave, you can steal that monster till the end of the turn. You can use this as removal and also to get more link materials. This card is amazing. It's nuts. It's nasty. I love this card. Shark Cannon is really good also, but it's more limited. First, you won't be stealing a monster from your opponent's field. You won't be negating effects. You will be adding, banishing one monster from your opponent's grave. And if you have 3 or more spell cards in your grave, you can steal that monster. So yes, it can help you a lot, but that monster can't attack. Window Anchors negates the effects, but the monster can attack. So yeah, 2 off. And 2 impermanence, because this card going second is really nasty. Also going first can be really nasty, so yeah. 1 Kagari, your main Sky Striker. There's a reason why this card is limited to 1. She can, just like all the Sky Striker cards, link cards, you can only special summon her once per turn. She can literally add any Sky Striker spell from your grave to your hand. Oh, you use engage, special summon her, get engaged back to your hand, use it again. Oh, you need 2 Widow Anchors? No problem. 2, you can use Widow Anchor, do what you have to do, but you need to remember, keep your main monster zone clean. So, for example, you use Widow Anchor, steal your opponent's monster, link with it, then you have the main monster zone clean again. You can use Kagari. If you use Kagari to get your Widow Anchor back, then you can use it again, steal another monster, and link it again. This card is really good. Also, it gets 100 attack for each spell and each spell in your grave, so it can become a big stick with proper time. You won't be using her like this, but it is a possibility. 3 Shizuku, you want to finish your turn with Shizuku, okay? With her, you can, in the end of your turn, you can add a Sky Striker card from your deck to your hand that doesn't have a card with the same name in your grave. So, oh, you want to add engage, but you already have a engage in your grave, you can add it. But if you don't have, she can add for you. Also, she has the opposite effect of Kagari. Kagari's add to her attack for each card in your grave. Shizuku removes 100 attack of each of your opponent's monster per spell card in your grave. Hayate is a direct attack. It's not the strongest attack, but is enough for this deck. This is more of a control deck, not a beat stick nor anything like it. And she can help you to fill your grave with Sky Strike spells faster. So yeah, 3 off. This one is... you won't be using as much. You will only be using if you really need it. For example, your opponent has 2 attacks. With his first attack, he attacks your Link Sky Striker. Raise activate, and then you special summon her to the field. Then, in the second attack, you can use Raise Quick Effect and Link Summon to Kaina. Kaina's, when special summon, can target one face-up monster, and to the end of the turn of the controller of that monster, that monster cannot attack, so you can negate that attack. You can use that also in your turn, since that attack negate will be permanent, will be in effect till the owner's end of turn. So yeah, 1 Hockey Fibrates, it's a free link tree. There is nothing much to say. You can use Hockey Fibrates to add Valor, and this way do Celine. That's one of the reasons why we run 2 Valors. Kerberos for monster removal, and Phoenix for spell and trap removal. As I said, we have a lot of spell and trap removal. We don't need Feather Duster here. If you want to run, you can run. It's needed? No. 2 Zeeks. This will be your primary way to use Widow Anchor as a field removal, because you want to summon the Link Sky Strikers. You need to... wait a second. Way better. You need to use a Sky Striker Ace monster as material. You can go from Nightmare Phoenix to Shizuku. So you can use that to clean your main monster zones, banish for 1 turn a monster in your opponent's field, also maybe disrupting this, and she also can become a beat 2500 beat 6. So yeah, it's more of a utility card than a card that you want to have on your field. So that's why 2. Celine, because I already said, you can go Hockey Fibrates. Hockey Fibrates, you used to go to Celine. Celine, you use her effect to get your Valor to the field, and then link 4 to Access Code Talker. It's like a ladder. You go from link 2 to link 3 to link 4. Free, basically. And yes, that's the only use for Celine in this deck. And Access Code Talker, I already talked about it in the other list, but I need to reiterate, in this deck it's really useful because each different. Sky Striker monster is a different attribute, so you will have lots of removal in one turn, so this is really good. So yeah, this is my Sky Striker list. This is actually the same list I used through all those replays. So yeah, this is one of the lists that went untouched. You can run, for example, other cards like the Underworld Goddess, the Link 5. You can use her. You can, for example, remove one Hayate. Actually, you can do this. Actually, I will do this. I will do this now. Here. Save. First change in months. This deck is really good till this day. It's not a tier 1, but it actually can work around a lot of difficult to deal monsters of your opponent's control. And it is a fun deck to play. So amazing. Now, one deck that I don't think I ever showed in a replay, but I played quite a bit. World Legacy. I know I named World Legacy, but it's actually a World Chalice deck. 3 of each normal World Chalice monster, 2 Mech Knight Avram. Why Avram? Since we want World Chalice monsters, because if you open the hand with him, you can still go for Induk, since the only condition is to be a normal monster that's not a token. So you can go from him, and he's a 2k beat stick. That's why. And also he actually works with words like secret. 3 Guard Dragon. This card is really good. In the grave, you can special summon in the defense position 1 normal monster from your grave, and also works as a negate. So yeah, 3 off. 1 key, because why not? Actually, this one was one of the cards that it's not actually necessary, but I decided to put it because why not? 3 Lee's. Lee is really good when she's normal or special summoned. You can add 1 World Chalice monster from your deck to your hand. So Crowned, Chosen, back on it, and even the own World Chalice can be added to your hand by her effect. And also she can help you to have more World Chalices to extend in your hand, to extend your combos. Why? Because you can send 1 monster from your hand or field to the grave and add her to your hand. So for example, every time you use as a World Chalice Link monster as material, sorry about a motorcycle. What was I talking about? Oh yeah. Every time you use World Chalice Link monster as material, you will be able to special summon a World Chalice monster from your hand to the field. That's how you keep on going higher and higher in your links. Oh yeah, I have to say this is not a competitive deck. It's not suited to go to the ranked. It's just a for fun deck. If you like this kind of deck, go for it. but it's not suited for ranked ladder, especially on higher tiers like gold, diamond, or I forgot the newest one. Oh wait, gold, platinum, or diamond, yeah. And with Lee, you can basically guarantee that you will have a word chalice in your hand. For example, you have a Magnite or any other word legacy in your hand and a Lee in your grave. You can trade them, send your word legacy to your grave, and Lee to your hand, and use her to keep special summoning and extending your place. 3 Ash, cause negate. Word Chalice, Word Legacy, Word Chalice, 3 of this card. You want to have it on the grave, and if you manage it to normal summon it before sending it to the grave, this will be amazing, because when this card is sent to the grave but was tribute summoned, you will be able to special summon from your deck 2 Word Chalice monsters to your field, like that, boom. Except itself, okay. And yes, you can actually use the Word Chalice to summon Lee, and with Lee add another Word Chalice to your hand. One of the plays I like to do the most if Word Chalice appears in my opening hand is, and also I have the necessary combo pieces. By this I mean other normal monsters. Is normal monster, use that as material for induct, and then with induct effect giving me additional normal summon for Word Chalice monsters, I use that to tribute induct and normal summon Word Chalice. Induct's effect will activate, and I will be able to special summon a Word Chalice normal monster from my hand to the field. Normal monster, no, a Word Chalice monster from my hand to the field. And with that, I do Autumn. And since Word Chalice is going from the field to the grave after being tribute summoned, you will get 2 additional Word Chalice monsters from your deck to your field for free. And that's the play, basically. 1 Hulky Fibroids, because sure, why not? It's a link 3. Because we have Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom is a turner, so 2 Libs. Lib is actually something that I'm still... I already found a place for her in the deck and everything, but you need also, as a lot of other cards, you need to have the proper setup, because to summon her you need to have a Word Legacy card on your gravestone, a spell, or the key, or the chalice, or the crown. And let's go back to the main deck. The crown. Why I'm running the crown? Because most of these don't ask you for word chalice monsters, so you can use that the Crown's effect to special summon itself onto a zone that link monster you control points to extend your plays. So yeah, that's why. And also it's one more piece to guarantee the full activation of Leap. Why? Because she has a secondary effect where if you have not on a word chalice monster in your grave, word chalice, a word legacy monster in your grave, not only you will be able to set a spell or trap word legacy card from your deck to your field, but by having that monster in your grave, you will be able to activate that card the turn you set, if it was a spell. That's important. You won't be able to activate word legacy sorrow, for example. But this can guarantee you either legacy is hard or succession. One Raigeki, one die, because you have you have a warrior, so this can help you a lot if you're missing pieces. 2 desires. Again, you want to do link summons, and you have a lot of different name word chalices in your deck. It's safer to get rid of 10 cards from your deck than getting rid from 6 from your extra. That's why. 2 hard. This is another way you can have you can have more normal more word chalice monsters in your hand, because this card allows you to choose 2 of them and add them to your hand, back to your hand, so 2 of them from your grave. So yeah, this is good. Okay. What more? Succession, it's a monster reborn. It needs to be on a zone that link monster points to, but it's a free tree of monster reborn. So yes, this is really useful, and you can search it, you can set it and use it in the same turn if you have leap. 2 discovery, this is actually more of a utility, you won't be needing this as much. 1 sorrow, again, it's a negate, but you won't be using as much, so only 1. And secret also, you won't be using as much, 1 off. 3 end of word chalice monsters. 3 Indux. This card is a must 3 off. There's no other amount possible. 2 Ibs, 2 Orams, 2 Lips, 2 Ningirsus, and of the word chalice cards, that's it. Now let's go for Hawky Fibrates again. It's a free link tree. Cruzad Ekmat, if you want to, actually, you won't be using this as much, but it can be a beat stick. And works in with word legacy monsters, so you can run it. Mekk-Knight Crusadia Avramat, another Mekk-Knight to work in tandem with word legacy secret. 3K beat stick, you won't be using this as much. The link for that you will be using a lot is Access Code Talker. He is your Wincom. So yeah, because you will do a lot of link summoning with different attributes, so you will be ready to remove a lot of cards on your opponent's field. And this reminds me, this is a going second deck. This deck doesn't work well by going first. So yeah, that's it. Next one, Arrow Mages. Okay. Arrow Mages. Plant deck is the opposite of Trickstars. Meanwhile, you want to Meanwhile, you want to burn your opponent's life points with Trickstars. This one is focused on gaining life points. You want your life points to be as high as possible. And is a full plant deck. So, Rose Lover is a 3-off. And also Lone Fire Blossom is a 3-off. Lone Fire Blossom is literally a free card from your deck. Like, he can be used as any other card that's a plant. Because with his effect, you tribute itself, and special summon from your deck any other plant monster you want. Okay. 3 Angelicas. She works kinda like a hand trap for it, because this deck's gimmick is to have both higher life points than your opponent and to gain life points. How? Basically, all the monsters have 2 effects. One that's activated if you have more life points than your opponent, and the second when you gain life points, and all of them are hard ones. They are not hard ones per turn, but some of them are once per turn and others, you get it. Well, she can target. You can discard her and target one aroma monster from your grave, and you will gain life points equal to the attack of that monster. So you can gain with one effect upwards to 2400 life points. And she also can special summon itself from the grave to the field and banishing herself when she leaves. But yeah, she's a extender, she's a tunner. This card uses a lot of tunners, so a lot of synchro, so having tunners is important. So yeah, 3-off. Laurel. Laurel can work as a tunner. He's not by default, but by his effect, he can turn a plant monster you control that's not a tunner already into a tunner till the end of the turn if you gain life points. But he's a special summon. That's why you run 1. Also, when he goes to the grave, you can gain 500 life points. So, yeah. 1-off. 2 Jasmine. Again, she's one of the pieces that will help you make your deck faster, because once per turn, if you gain life point and she's on the field, draw 1 for each copy of her when the effect activated. So, if you have 2 Jasmine, both Jasmines will activate, and then you draw 2. one kananga if you want to, in quotation marks, remove a card from your opponent's back row. You will be bouncing back to his hand. So if it's a trap, you won't be removing it permanently, but you will be delaying its use. So yeah. Also, if you have more life points than your opponent, reduces 500 attack and defense of each of your opponent's monsters. Rosemary, really good card. Plant monsters you control when they attack. If you have more attack power than your more life points than your opponent won't be able to activate monster effects till the end of damage step. So, for example, you are against Trickstars and they want to use Honest or Corobane. They can't. They just can't. Yeah. And also, when you gain life points, you target one monster, and yours or the opponent's, and change its battle position. If it's on defense, goes to attack. If it's on attack, goes to defense. And this is mandatory. If she's the only one in the field, you have to target her, and you will have to change her battle position. That's important. 2 Marjorans. This card is really good, and it's just a normal. When you gain life points, for each arrow mage you control, you banish one card from your opponent's graveyard. Depending on the deck, this can destroy his place, can destroy backup plays and everything like that. Also, if your life points are higher than your opponent's, you take no battle damage involving plant monsters. So yeah, for example, you have her here, you have more life points, and your opponent attacks with, it can be 1 billion attack. You won't be getting any damage because of her. She still will be destroyed, but we can work around this. How? With Jasmine, but I'll explain this at due time. Bergamot, your beat stick. When your life points are higher than your opponent, when a plant monster attacks a defense position monster, piercing damage. And when you gain life points while he's on the field, he will get 1000 attack. So 3400 beat stick at minimum. Why? I'll explain. A monster reborn, as usual. Plant monsters really like to use the grave, so one foolish because of aroma gardening. Once per turn you can gain 500 life points, and all your monsters gains at 500 attack and defense till the end of your opponent's turn, even if this card leaves the field. You can actually activate this card 3 times if you have 3 of them in your hand. Activate one, use the effect, activate another, and the power is stacked. So that's why I said at least 3400, because if his effect activated because of Aroma Garden, he'll be 3900. 3900 beat stick with piercing damage. Really good. Aroma Garden, this card is amazing. Once per turn, if a Aroma monster is special summon or normal summon, you can gain 1000 life points. This is a lot. Especially since you might have noticed all of the other cards till now only gives you 500. And if you're attacked and you have lower, yes, lower life points than your opponent, you can special summon any aroma monster from your deck to your field. And if the effect of the life point effect wasn't activated till then, it will activate. So yeah, it's really good, especially when we combo with Blessed Wings. But again, 2 time Poison of the Old Man, 1200 life points, quick play spell. It's that. You have 800 burn, but you won't be using this almost never. It can actually finish your matches, but it's really difficult to actually use it as a burn card. No, you will be using it more as a life point card. Twin Twisters, back row removal. Next, Humid Wind. You can pay 1000 life points, add 1 aroma monster from your deck to your hand, and since this is a continuous trap, you can use this both in your opponent's turn and your own turn, okay? And if you have life point lower than your opponent's, you can gain 500 life points. Yeah, as I said, 1000 life points is a lot to this deck. Dried Winds. If you gain life points, you can target 1 monster and face a monster in your opponent's control and destroy it. Yeah, just that. But if your life points are 3000 higher or more, you can pay that difference and destroy monsters whose attack some are equal or less than the amount you paid as cost. And now we have Blessed Wind, the best trap in this deck. You have 1 of 3 effects to activate once per turn. You can send a plant monster from your hand or face-up field and gain 500. You can target 1 plant monster from your grave, shuffle in the deck, and gain 500. Or you can pay 1000 life points and special summon 1 aroma monster from your grave. Yeah, pay 1000, win 1000. That's why I said aroma gardening is nuts. It literally can make your Blessed Winds be a free special summon from grave and activate that card's effect. So yeah, really nuts. 1 Armades, cause why not? It a card that has protection against activated effects during the battle phase. 2 Rosemaries. You won't actually be using her that much. Just a second. But she still has some uses, and she is negate in 1 card on the field. So yes, she is useful. Also, she gives all plant type monsters you control 500 attack and defense if your life points are higher than your opponent. Again, this is good. 2 Queen of Thorns. Why? Just to make your opponent cry blood, to be honest. Because since this whole deck, except for Ash Blossom, is... oh yeah, and Trishula and Colossal Fighter and Hawk Vibrat and that's a Skull Top is full plant. Every time a player must wants to normal or special summon a non-plant monster from your hand, pay 1,000 life points. This can help you make the gap between your life point and your opponent's life point way bigger. The best synchro in the deck, Sweet Marjoram. When she synchro summon, you can add any of these 3 traps to your hand. If you don't have Blast Wings, your main target is Blast Wings. When you gain life points, you can just blow one of your opponent's field cards. It doesn't matter if it's set or face up. It doesn't matter if it's monster or spell or trap. You just remove it, destroy it. And meanwhile, your life points are higher than your opponent. Plant monster you control cannot be targeted by card effects. Field protection, really nice. And I'll skip this here. Trishula, everyone already knows what Trishula does. He's not your main target, but it is possible to do him. Colossal Fighter is filler material, I won't lie. Black Rose Dragon, it's filler, but it is a more usable filler. Now let's go for Jasmine. 2 plant monsters. While your life points are higher than your opponent, discard and any plant monster discard points to cannot be destroyed by battle. Do you remember I said that you can't take damage with Marjoram? If you have Jasmine pointing to Marjoram, you already have 2 cards that cannot be destroyed by battle and won't be taking any damage. Oh, you want more protection? Okay. In the other arrow, she can point to Sweet Marjoram. And this way you have 3 cards that cannot be destroyed by battle, you don't take any battle damage, and they can't be targeted by effects. Omni destroys like Raigekis, Lightning Storms can still destroy this board, but it makes harder for your opponent. You need a lot of setup though to get to this point. So yeah, this deck is also another deck that you can use in ranked, but it's not a good idea. It's not powerful enough for the highest ranks. One Hockey Vibrance and one Accessible Talker again. But again, the same limitation with Trickstars applies. You don't have many link monsters, you won't be doing many link summons, you will be focusing on synchro summons, and that's it. That's the deck actually. And we are at 1.5 hours of stream, and I only showed what, 4 decks? Trickstar, Sky Striker, Wood Legacy, and Arrow Mages. Yes! Now, let's go for Witchcrafters. Now, this is the deck I said was somewhat of a exception about my tier policy. Why? Because we run Invoker. And actually this is your win con is way more related to Invoker than Witchcrafters, but you can use both win cons depending on what you end up drawing. 2 Veilers, why? Celine, that's why, and also Hockey Fibers. Hockey Fibers, with Hockey Fibers you get Veiler, Linktree, Celine, with Celine, you get a Veiler, Link 4, Accessible Talker. That's why we run 2 Veilers. 3 Gainy. Yeah, actually, almost 3 of the low stars witchcrafters, except for 1 Potterier, but she's not that useful actually, so you won't be using this as much. You'll be using more these 2. But okay, 1 Edel, 1 Hein, 1 Ver, and 1 Auro. Actually, this is all that you need of monsters, of witchcraft monsters. 3 Metsi because drawing is good. 3 Ash Blossoms because, again, it is good to have negates. And that's why we run 2 Impermanences. 1 Invocation, you don't need any more than 1. 2 Alistairs, also, you don't need more than 2 of him. Actually, this is one thing that I find terrifying about invokers. You don't need more than 2 of the main engine. 3 creations. Actually, Witchcrafter is a deck that I know how to play, but I'm not good at explaining that much. So, yeah. Since you have 2 paths, it's hard to explain both paths at the same, especially at the same time. You can add 1 Witchcrafter monster from your deck to hand and everything, and has the usual Witchcrafter recycle effect if you didn't use another creation in that turn. Holiday, target 1 Witchcrafter from your grave, special summon it, and also again the same generic recycle effect. Collaboration, it can help you make a secondary effect attack. It's not that useful, but it can be used, but you won't be using as much. It's more situational, and it's more to fill your grave. 2 Magical Meltdown. This card is nuts. Add 1 Alistair, protect your Alistair fusion against negate and everything like it. So, yeah. What more can I say? Buy Street, yeah, it's useful. Scroll, again, it's useful. Trapping. Unveiling, it's one of the best ones, actually, to special summon a Witchcrafter monster from your hand. Especially if you need to have one of these from your hand to your field, this is really good. And also protects your spellcaster monsters effect. And the impermanences I already told. 1 Purgatrio, 1 Algoides, 1 Macaba, and 1 Elysium. I'm only running Elysium because I got it in the packs. If it wasn't for this, I wouldn't be using actually. 1 Artemis, 1 Hulk Fibrate. Again, we use Veiler, we use Ash Blossom. We can make a link tree with just this. Kerberos is also useful. Phoenix is also useful. Monster removal, back row removal. Hita the Fire Charmer. Actually, I added the charmers based on a list I got in the internet, but I almost never use them. So yeah, you can use that, but it's not useful. That useful. Oh yeah, one metaphor is fusion. Why? Because you discard a lot of spells, and this card can add one card from to your hand. So one off. Celine, again, the same combo I told back of the okay Hulky Fibrates and a Tesco Talker. Again, same thing. Okay, sorry. Let's just continue, because again, I can't just explain much about this deck, because there's nothing much I can do to explain it. I'm not that used with this deck till this day, because I only played for a tiny bit of time. Now let's go to the final two, and the final two decks are pendulum decks. Oh no, sorry, I almost forgot about virtual worlds. So yeah, I think it's almost a 2-hour stream. Let's do the following. I'm kinda tired of keep on explaining the decks. Actually, I still have some things to do today. And I'm seeing that the engagement on the stream is one of the weakest till this day. So I'll be doing a part 2, I promise. Probably in the middle of a stream that's where we will be playing. Okay. But for today, I'll be leaving here. Well, for everyone that watched it live, thank you. For everyone that's watching the VOD, also thank you. I'll be leaving it here. See you guys next week, where I will try to do more streams. Yes, I will try going from 3 by week to 4, or maybe even 5. Who knows? I'll have to decide it. But I can guarantee you one thing. Next week, we will have a part 2 of Metal Gear Rising. I love that game. Come on. So yeah, for everyone that watched it, thank you, and see you all next time.